The Puritan movement began in the late 16th century as a reaction against what its followers saw as the excesses and corruptions of the Church of England. Puritans wanted to purify the church by eliminating practices they believed were not scripturally based and too closely aligned with the Roman Catholic Church. By the early 17th century, the movement really began gaining significant traction. What they wanted was a simpler, more pious form of worship and lifestyle. By the early 1640s, the Puritans had acquired substantial influence in Parliament, and legislation began being passed that reflected Puritan values. In 1645, Parliament introduced the Directory for Public Worship, which was a guide of worship that replaced the Book of Common Prayer and abolished the celebration of Christmas, Easter, and other traditional festivals. The Puritans viewed these celebrations as remnants of popish traditions and believed that they encouraged immoral behavior. The ban on Christmas was formalized in 1647 when Parliament passed an ordinance that explicitly prohibited its observance. December 25th was to be a day of fasting and repentance, rather than feasting and merriment. Soldiers patrolled the streets and enforced this ban, which was deeply unpopular amongst the general public. Riots and protests erupted in several cities, including London, Norwich, and Canterbury, as people resisted the suppression of their cherished traditions. By 1652, the enforcement of the Christmas ban had intensified. Parliament passed additional laws to reinforce the prohibition, including fines for those who held or attended Christmas services. Shops were ordered to remain open on Christmas Day, and any festive preparations were subject to confiscation. Despite these measures, many people continued to celebrate Christmas in secret. Oliver Cromwell was a devout Puritan, and his beliefs and values resonated deeply with many at the time who were dissatisfied with the established church and the monarchy. He was part of the Godly Party, as the Puritan faction was called in Parliament, and while Cromwell was present in 1644 when Christmas was originally mandated to be a day of fasting and repentance, it wasn't Cromwell who first enacted the ban, though for so many centuries people have said he did. When Oliver Cromwell eventually became Lord Protector of the Realm in 1653 after the execution of Charles I, the Christmas ban legislation continued, and his government took measures to ensure its enforcement, with varying degrees of success. One of the ironies of Cromwell's rule was his use of Hampton Court Palace as one of his residences. Originally built by Cardinal Wolsey and later taken over by Henry VIII, Hampton Court Palace was a symbol of royal opulence, not exactly the residence that one would think aligned with Puritan values. Despite Cromwell's efforts to replace the monarchy with a republic, he lived in this grand palace, enjoying many of the luxuries associated with kingship. A kingship which he vehemently opposed and worked very hard to get rid of. Cromwell's wife is credited with saving some of Hampton Court's treasures from destruction by Puritan zealots, ensuring the palace's preservation. After Oliver Cromwell died and the monarchy was restored under Charles II in 1660, the Christmas ban was removed. Charles really didn't spend very much time at Hampton Court Palace, as he found it rather old-fashioned.